Stantec. We're a consulting architectural engineering firm here in San Diego. And so I work on lighting and lighting design every day. I moved here in 1982, got involved with dark sky in 85 when the city of San Diego put their first lighting ordinance in place, when the astronomers at Mount Palomar wanted us all to live under low pressure sodium lighting. And if some of you may remember the really mustard yellow lights we had for our street lights. So I got involved with the ordinance, the committees that did for our outdoor lighting ordinances to help make them so they were usable for us to live with. So I'm going to talk about two things. Good lighting design. You're going to hear the exact same stuff you've heard about from our previous speakers, maybe from a different viewpoint. And then I'll talk about our dark sky places a little bit more. So if you don't remember anything else, remember this. You've heard it at least 3 times already. Light only where it's needed. Light only when it's needed. Use only the amount of light needed. And keep the color temperature low. Okay, if you remember those 4 things, we can be done. We can go have a beer or whatever. Okay, so I'll talk a little more about this. So light trespass, you saw this in various ways before, but the light that's coming down right into our eyes is glare. So if we have a lot of glare in our eyes, we can't see what's past it. The higher angle lights coming off light fixtures bother our neighbors. We have bounce light going up into the sky. Light pollution bothers the astronomers. We talked about clear skies. They have to go up high to get clear skies. But here where we are, we have dust in the atmosphere. We have water vapor in the atmosphere. And so this light that's going up is lighting the underside of all those particles and water vapor and everything like that. So we can't see through it. So that's one of the reasons the sky glow is actually the glow of everything that's in the atmosphere that's getting lit from underneath from our bad lighting. And you can't see the stars that are beyond that. So just a little map of where the light goes and what it does. So be a good neighbor. You've heard this already. Okay. Light your porch. Light what you want to light. Don't light anything else. Okay. Don't stick a wall pack on the side of your house and light your neighbor's house. Okay. The question I always ask, if you're trying to decide what fixture to buy, you're at Home Depot and you're just, what am I buying for my house? Do I want to live here? Think about what you're buying, and do you want to live across the street? Okay. So it's kind of think about it that way. It's pretty easy. You've seen a version of this chart already. They basically say non-compliant all the way across. I disagree a tad with this one. I think if I have my porch light on my house and I have somebody coming, I want to see their face. So I don't necessarily want to have the light shining down and lighting the person's feet. So maybe you could do a little bit of light coming out, okay, but only a little bit, not a huge amount. Again, where do you need it? We don't want to pay for the energy. You were talking about energy. All that light going up, you're paying for it with your electric bill at the end of the month. So when? Dusk to dawn. If it's really, really, really needed for security all night, fine. But then keep it really low. Light what all they need to be. Again, don't put it on the back of a building that's a brick wall with no doors or windows. Why do I put it back there and run it dusk to dawn? Okay. I could put it on an occupancy sensor back there so that if somebody was out there, then the light might pop on. Okay. Okay. Dusk to closing if you're a business. Doesn't need to run all night. So when is really important. Color temperatures we've talked about already. We measure it in degrees Kelvin, which starts 0 is at absolute 0 where everything stops. Think about a piece of steel. If I heat it up in a forge maybe, it will eventually turn red. And then as I heat it up more and more and more, it'll get white. And then heat it up even more and more. If it didn't melt, it would turn blue. So we're running from what we call warm color temperatures here to cool color temperatures here, even though the number's inverse of that. So what we say with dark sky and circadian rhythms and affecting 3K is a good number to try and target. And if I can get lower than that, that's even better for us. So color temperature in degrees Kelvin. Think of it just like Fahrenheit, it's just a different scale. So I put this in here. Next time you go to Home Depot, go down and look at the lamps. They're not bulbs, they're lamps, by the way. Bulbs are those things that have flowers that come out of the ground in the spring. So there's a couple of important information on the number of lumens. This one is 250 lumens. Somebody earlier said something about 800 was a good number. I don't remember what it was, but this is a pretty low output, 250 lumens. Our ordinance currently today allows us to use 4,000 without regulation. Way too high. Every light will have a thing that lighting facts chart on this on the back or on the side somewhere. It'll again tell you the lumens here. It's just like your food label on your jar, your food jar. Number of lumens and the color temperature down here. This is 2100. So this happens to be the lamp that I have in my carriage lights on the side of my garage. Because I wanted to put some lights up there because I wanted to have something that looked nice. But I didn't want to have a lot of light for obvious reasons. When I went to the section in Home Depot that regular light bulbs were at, they were all way too bright. They were 600 lumens, 700 lumens. They were whiter. They were 3000 K. They call them funny names. The color. You got to look at the number. That tells you what it really is. And so I said, well, there must be something that I can buy here that'll work for my lights in my house. And I found these are the type of lights you find in decorative chandeliers. You might use in your living room or whatever. Okay. But again, this is 250 lumens, really small, and 2100 K. Those look really nice on both sides of my garage door. And there's plenty of light to walk out there and get out of my car and get into the front door. So don't just look in the aisle where the regular light bulbs. Look for some of the other ones. Dark sky fixtures again. Typically we call them as full cutoff, which means all the light goes down, not up. So there'll be a flat bottom, different shape with a flat bottom. This one has a flat lens. This will have this part be lit up. Might be really good for your house number on your house because the number will be lit because the safety people can see it. Light tucked up inside the fixture. Here's another one, very decorative. I think this shade glows a little bit. And then this one, the light's actually inside and coming out through the inside of the ring. So this one's not full cutoff. But again, that probably would be nice next to your front door, and it would light a person's face up that they're coming up to the door. Okay, so it's that kind of that quasi area, keep the light level down. So I threw a couple pictures in here of, this is a residential area. They've lit their walkways with low-level lights. You can see them here. The lights on by the doors are low output. Kind of a nice residential lighting job. We all have sports lighting around our neighborhoods and things. One of the nice things about LEDs is they're very, very aimable. So I can put the light exactly where I want it. Or I couldn't do that before with older technology. So here's a well-lit field, and you can see behind it, there's almost no light out here all around it. So we can do really good jobs. And that could be down the block from your house. So if you have a sports field nearby and there's a lot of glare from it, 15 years ago you couldn't solve that problem, but today you can. You can change the lights to have it just like the field. And then none of us do that. This is a port, like the San Diego port or Port of Long Beach or something like that. And they use like 90-foot poles. But again, you can look at this picture and you can see the light angles coming off the light. There's no light going up. Okay, then that's a 24/7 operation. We wouldn't want to live next door. But we can do really nice stuff with the lighting that's out there today. So this picture here, because what can you do? And that's the next step for my presentation, is here's a residential complex, lights all around, and somebody didn't like it, and they got out, talked to the neighbors, talked to the homeowners association, and changed all the lights, and ended up with this. So this is the exact same project. And at the local level, you can get out there and talk to your HOA, like I said, or whatever, and change the lights and get a much nicer environment to live in. So that's relatively easy to do. So I'll talk about dark sky paces a little bit. So I got involved in 1985 with the ordinance. The people in Borrego Springs called me and said, can you help us get the city or the community listed with dark skies? So we did Borrego Springs in 2009, Julian in 21, oh, I'm sorry, Anza Borrego Park in 18, and Julian in 21. And this is, again, what can you do to help? I think Doug or somebody said it takes one person to make these things happen, okay? Doug Solacey sitting right there, okay, is the reason we're sitting in a dark sky community. It took one person, and he got everybody active. And what do we have to have? About 7 to 10 people that were interested before they'll even talk to you, because they want a community, a committee in the community that'll be there 5 years from now. So yeah, what takes one person, but they won't take one person to get this going. You need a committee that's dedicated to do the work, and all three of these organizations have that. Mission Trails Regional Park, Kathy mentioned this. Okay, we're kind of excited about this because this is right in the city of San Diego. If we can get this listed as a park in the city of San Diego, it'll maybe wake up some people in San Diego about the importance of this. Laguna Mountain Recreation Area, Descanso, we're kind of struggling with this one right now because there's so many little communities in that area, and you have to come up with one community and one steering committee that's willing to run it. But we're looking at it. And then Fallbrook and Valley Center have 2 active groups that are probably going to go for it here. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but serious interest takes people to do this. Okay, and that's it for me.
Thanks a lot, Paul.